It is Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and it's time to talk Eyre Peninsula Netball now. To be more accurate than that, that's Great Flinders and Eastern Eyre Netball. Joe Franklin joins me on the line. G'day, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing really well, Jason. You?
Yes, going along beautifully. Thank you.
That's good. That's good.
Let's have a look back to last weekend in Great Flinders Netball. Round 10 of matches it was, and some interesting results. Going to start with Eyre United. They had a win over Ramblers, 36-23. They've had their foot on the till for a little while. I'm sure they're still pretty pumped up there.
Oh, absolutely. And look, they're getting their mojo together. There's no doubt about that. And look, Ramblers, we knew that they were going to find it a little bit tough this year, trying to put a whole new side together, and that sort of is what's happening. Whereas at the moment, Brooke has been able to settle down a little bit with her combinations, and the girls are really working really hard, and they're really quite confident. And, you know, you get a couple of wins under your belt, and you all of a sudden think that, yep, we can actually do something here. And they've run with it. There's no question about that. And certainly the couple of the pickups that they've picked up with the Flavel girls, and Janice Wells has been a huge in for them in defence. Put them around a couple of young kids, Marty Masson and is it Brooke Stratford? The young Stratford, at any rate. You know, they're coming together quite nicely, and are pretty happy with their game. Look, Ramblers worked hard. Young Sally Cabot, she's another young one. She worked really hard through the centre for the whole game. And again, Paige Darlitz and Katie Hasma, they worked hard in defence. And, you know, they're giving it everything they've got, as Kira has said, but they're just not quite there yet.
Not quite there yet, indeed. Eyre United now 2 wins on the trot and 2 games behind Lock in 4th. There's still 7 rounds to go. That's gettable.
It is certainly gettable, and they've got a sniff. They have got a sniff. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Well, let's speak of Lock, actually. They took on Tumby Bay and gave more than a yelp. Tumby Bay had to do it offensively to get the job done here, 58-46.
Yes, they did, and Lock had their full team, and they were determined to back up from the week before, which they started out doing. They certainly stuck with Tumby Bay for quite a while, but look, Lock always knew that they were going to have to work really, really hard to beat Tumby, but, you know, they sort of had the goal of getting as close as they possibly could, and, you know, there's still, as you said, 7 rounds left, but, you know, the goalers for Lock, Jordan Sladden and Lisa Burrows had to work really hard against the Tumby defenders. Young Taryn Benke and Renee Birkin started in there, and then Summer Cave came on. A lot of pressure in there, and Millie Morton, Ellen Reid, you know, they matched it pretty well with Carly Dunn. And young Maisie Curtis had a running wing attack, and then, because they can bring on Kennedy McNamara. So, you know, Tumby, the quick, smart ball movement, that's the name of their game. And so, therefore, poor old Whitney Wright and Sarah Skinner, Tanya Habner, found it a little bit difficult to keep up with that at times. And again, you know, Ilka certainly is leading the way in the goal circle down there. Young Sarah Laurie is backing her up pretty well. So, you know, all in all, there's some good matchups, some really good netball played, and in the end, Tumby just absolutely know how to get over the line.
They do. Another team that knows how to get over the line, and we were looking forward to this clash. Cummins Kapini Cougars against Elliston Districts, and it was a low-scoring clash, this one, but in the end, Cougars got the job done by 16 goals, 40-24.
Yeah, pretty disappointing for Elliston Districts, only scoring 24 goals and losing by that much. They were hoping with a couple of outs that Cummins Company have got with Ella Wedd and Morgan McDonald missing, they were hoping that they might have been able to do better than that. But they had Lorena Heberman missing through their centre court, and that affected them way more than what Kate thought it was going to. They brought in young Adele Shepherd into the centre, and she did, you know, a good job for a young kid, especially considering she was up against Jet Green, who's an association and an EP player, for a half in centre. But Kate said, you know, she held her own, didn't do too bad a job in there, which was pleasing for them. For Cougars, they ran the Green girls, Hannah and Rube, together in goals, and Kelsey and Leah Forrest were able to defend really well on those girls, and they were getting the turnovers, but unfortunately the ball was coming straight back at them as fast as what they were sending it down. So Elliston Districts just did not capitalise on the number of turnovers that they got, and you just can't do that against Cougars. You've got every little opportunity you're given, you've got to make sure you make the most of it, and unfortunately Elliston Districts didn't do that on the day, and so Cougars were able to run away with Ella tried a couple of different things. She actually threw Jet Green into goal attack for a half, and she actually shot at 83%. So she'd been pretty happy with that, I would have thought. And Elliston District's incentive award went to Adele Shepherd.
Well, there you go. So that moves us into round 11 of matches there in Great Flinders Netball. And look, we've got to say down the bottom of the ladder at the moment, the race for the wooden spoon could be decided this weekend with Ramblers taking on United Yolanda, and the losers odds on to claim it, I think.
Yes, they are. And, look, this is sort of the battle. I've sort of called it the battle of the young ones who are blended in with just a little bit of experience, because that's what both sides are. They've got some real young ones who are working really, really hard, at just not quite there yet. And then they've got, a couple of young ones. But then, of course, amongst all of that, you throw in Cassie Maxfield, and she probably is the X factor that will probably get United Yolanda over the line, I would think. And unfortunately for Ramblers, that may well be that they're going to be the Dwellers.
Wow. I never thought I'd actually hear that, but
No.
they've been so good for so long, Ramblers, but they'll bounce back. They're too good a club not to. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The battle for third and fourth at the moment, it will be at Elliston, the local derby, I guess you could say, between these two, Elliston Districts and Lock. And look, Elliston Districts, if they win, they stay in touch with that top two, with Cougars having the bye. But Lock, they need to win these sort of games to keep themselves out of the chasing pack, which is headed by Eyre United.
Yes, they certainly will, and they have a full team, and they might even have Alice Moore from Kimber who have a bye. They might even be bringing her in. Don't know. They might be being a little bit sneaky, but they certainly know that they need to win this one. And look, there's going to be some really good matchups here, Jace. Like Zali Newton and Courtney Harlan goals for Elliston District against Whitney Wright and Sarah Skinner. That will be very interesting. Match each other for height, and Zali's got a little bit of speed in there, of course, got a little bit of speed, but those Whitney and Sarah certainly read the ball very, very well. And then at the other end, you've got Jordan Sladden and Lisa Burrows, who have been shooting very accurately and very well against the very seasoned combination of Kelsey Hull and Nikki Schubert, who have been playing amazing this season. And Nikki back into that. She's missed a couple of games back into that is going to make a big difference. So big matchups in there as well. And then you look at the centre court with Lorena Heberman and Zoe Phelps and Leah Forrest for Elliston against Molly. Yes. Millie, that should be Morton and Ellen Reid and Tanya Habner. And, all in all, there are some great matchups, and it is going to be who is going to be able to hold their nerve and who's going to be able to make sure that at the end, when the pressure's right on, they can get their team over the line.
Yeah,
I think it should. And, is that Elliston? But Lock are on a bit of a high at the moment. I might even go for a little upset here and actually go for Lock.
Okay, all right.
So they're bound to lose now, Jay.
Well, there's another local derby to finish off the round, and that's Tumby Bay, undefeated, top of the ladder, flying against Eyre United, who've won 2 on the trot now, so they'll be going in with a bit of confidence, but you'd have to pick Tumby here.
I would be picking Tumby, yes. I just know that they know how to get over the line. And look, Eyre United, they're getting their mojo together. In fact, they've probably almost got it at the moment, and you would not be wanting to count them out. It is the speed of Eyre United through the centre court and in their actual goal circle, and the tricky little passes that they can do in and out. That will match what Tumby Bay do as well, because Ilka is renowned for that and does it extremely well as well. So, this is could be very interesting. I just think that Tumby Bay probably will be able to hold their nerve and have that little bit of experience that will get them over the line. But look, here, United, don't write them out. They've got a sniff and they're going to run with it.
Yeah. All right. There you go. That's Great Flinders Netball, round 11 of matches. Let's head to Eastern Eyre Netball now for a moment and have a look back to last week's A-grade games. Pretty much as we would have predicted, although the margin between the Eastern Rangers and Kimber has caught me off guard a little bit here. But normally there's only 3 or 4 goals in it between these two at maximum when they play each other. But the Rangers absolutely towed Kimber up 51-34.
Yeah, they did. Now, I'm not sure whether Kimber had a full side or not. Not 100% sure about that. I do know that Rangers did, and they certainly put it together, and their height certainly proved far too much for Kimber in the end. And the fact that, Kelly is actually getting them to put 4 consistent quarters together. I was really, really surprised by that score too, that scoreline too, Jace. I would not have thought that. But then again, having said that, Eastern Rangers certainly have got at both ends are very settled and very strong in the goal circle and in the defence circle. So the rest of that would, I certainly think, put out warning signals to all the other sides in Eastern Eyre that Eastern Rangers are certainly ready to play in another grand final.
Yeah, yep. Well, Kimber might be doing battle with Central Eyre United in a prelim perhaps, because Central Eyre United won again against Cow, did it fairly comfortably 52-30, and they look like a challenger in waiting.
Yeah, look, Cow, 30 goals, you'd be relatively happy with in a season like what they're having. But I know that they, at the beginning of the season, they were sort of hoping that they would have been doing better than that. Not sure if they had anybody missing or not. However, Central United had their full side, and certainly when they have got their full side, they are extremely tall, and that height would be really difficult for Cow to match because they just don't have that available to them at the moment. So, yeah, look, Central United they're an interesting crew because if they can have the consistency of the same 7 week in and week out, then they are definitely going to be the ones that could take it up to Eastern Rangers.
Yep, I agree. So, successful weekend for them it was. They only lost the 1 game, and that was in the C grade out of the 6 that were played. So, they've got some depth
yes,
as a club.
That was it. I did have some feedback from the C grade game because Alana Jenke from way back, she went up and helped the C grade, the Cow C grade out, and she said, it was a really good game, and they were able to take 1 win home for Cow. So she was pretty happy about that.
There you go. All right, and that leads us into this weekend's round of matches in Eastern Eyre Netball, and it should be an interesting round, Joe.
Yeah, look, it should be. Look, for Ports, it's a matter of who Chloe has available, and she herself doesn't probably really know until Friday. Well, she would hope that she knows at training, but usually doesn't. So she, Friday night, Saturday mornings. But on paper, you would have thought that they would really be able to take it up to Cow on the day. But look, Cow will be they're desperate to have a win here. They're desperate to lock up that 4th spot, and sometimes desperation doesn't necessarily get you over the line, but I think that perhaps in this instance it probably will. Not sure what the matchups will be because not sure who Ports will actually have, but Cow are pretty much to what they would call their full side, so they would certainly be hoping that they could pull away with a win at Arno Bay on Saturday, I would think.
Yeah, well, it should be an interesting clash, that one. It always is when Ports and Cow go at it.
Yeah.
And that's at Arno Bay. Of course, Kimber have the bye, but that means that at Warrnambool, the Eastern Rangers will travel there to take on Central Eyre United, and this is going to tell us a little bit about Central Eyre United, I think.
Yes, it will. And if both sides are at full strength, it will be very, very interesting. And, I mean, having said that, we sort of said that last week about in Great Flinders with Cougars and Ellison, and it ended up being extremely one-sided. But talent-wise, both sides should match up pretty well, really. I just think that whilst Central United have got some height in their goal circle, it's not necessarily Ron is Tom is quite young, and I just think that in the end, Eastern Rangers have got that bit of experience in there with Jordan Hooper. I think she'll turn over enough ball and put enough pressure over the shots of the Central Eyre United goalers to make sure that Rangers get to beat them. Beat Central on the day. I really would love to actually see this game because there's some real talent on both sides, and to see that going head to head would be really, really interesting. But I just reckon that Rangers have got the bit of experience that will get them over the line in the end.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, but Central United, I think they're a chance on their home deck. We'll see how we go. It's going to be a very interesting round of matches there in Eastern Eyre Netball, but Joe, plenty interesting weekend ahead in netball in general across the EP.
Yes, it is. We've actually already had one game in Port Lincoln because this weekend is this new Thunderbirds Academy that they have set up this year. The netball SA set up this year. They have a big weekend happening this weekend. So Imperials had quite a few players, plus their coach heading down to that. So Waybacks in the PLNA thought it's best interest of the game that they play on Wednesday night. And that was really, and we had quite a crowd. It was really quite interesting, Chase. A few people came out. It was a little bit damp, but Waybacks in the end, only in the end because they were down and then they were even and then they got up to have a win. But so that game's already been played, and then Boston's and Wanilla will take each other on. But we also, this week is this Saturday is the beginning of our what did we call it, Jason? Well, we're trying to make a family-friendly entry to both football and netball. So if you pay to get into netty and then you need to go to football, you only have to pay extra $2. Vice versa, if you pay to go into footy and you want to come to watch a game of netty, you only have to pay $2. So, we're getting it together, and hopefully it's going to be successful, and people see it as a success. I'm sure they'll give us plenty of feedback one way or the other. But we're looking forward to seeing how that goes, and whether we do get a bit of extra crowd at either any of the venues because it's cheaper for people.
All right. Well, let's hope it all goes well. Joe, great chatting with you. We'll do it again next week.
Yeah, we will. Ready for Peddler Cup, Jace.
Yes. We'll be talking about that next week. Good on you, Joe.
We will. No worries. Thanks, Jace. See ya.